everybody, this is VG Time back again, and as I promised in my previous video concerning how to play card games with your friends online, I said I was going to make a video on my budget streaming setup. So I'm back at it again, and let me explain why I wanted to make this video. So when I first started wanting to live streaming, I was going to a lot of very great content creators, but they were mainly professionals who had very professional gear. And they would try to give you budget options, but a lot of times when they would give you budget options, they were budget compared to what they had. So they had a $5,000 camera, they would suggest you a $500 camera. And they'd be like, yeah, you know, it's 1/10 the cost of the camera I use. But that doesn't help out a guy like me, or maybe even like you, who may not be able to spend more than maybe $30 on a camera or something like that. So I just felt it was important for me to show you what I'm doing right now, and help you to see that you do have options, even if you could at the max spend $100 to $150 on your live stream, and you can have a full featured live stream doing that. I'm not going to get too much into software and things like that because there are much better channels for that. You could go to like Epos Vox or Guile Level or something like that to teach you how to use OBS Studio, which is the free broadcasting software, or go to like Alpha Gaming and Sam to help you be able to do alerts and widgets and stuff like that. What I'm just going to talk about is the hardware in this video. So just to give you a scene of how the hardware actually looks, I'm going to go to the side real quick. And as you can see, I have a single desk setup. Sorry my back is to you, but I just wanted to show you this. I'm working off of a card table. It's nothing special. I have an overhead setup so that I could show directly down. This setup is made up of a simple clothing rack. The clothing rack then has above it a phone tripod clamp to a fake Joby Gorilla Pod, which I got for less than $20. Then of course we have my laptop that I already had hanging around, the monitor, Bluetooth keyboard and mouse so that I could do what I need to do off camera, and then the clamp lights, which I use to shine light off the wall so that it reflects back onto my face to act as key lighting. So all those items are actually fairly important, whether or not it's the lighting or whatnot. I'll give you an example of why it is important to have good lighting right now. That's how it would look normally, and as you can see, that's pretty trash. But having these lights, have it reflect off the wall, have it illuminate my face matters. Now, what camera do I use? Oddly enough, I use a Logitech C270. Now, this is a 720p webcam, and before people get upset about the concept of a 720p webcam, let me show you why something as simple as a 720p webcam doesn't really matter while you're live streaming. I'll show you my gameplay screen, and yeah, basically you're usually in the corner or maybe even the upper section of your gameplay, and you're in a little tiny box. So there's no reason to get a mirrorless camera or a 4K, 30, 4K 60 recording thing, because you're gonna probably be in a little window on somebody's smartphone screen, and that's all they're gonna really see. Now, granted, this changes if you are a just chatting only streamer and you're gonna have like ultra wide screen streaming. Then it matters, to get a little bit better. But the main thing you need is to have something like that's 1080/30 and somewhere around, or 1080/60 is preferable, and around a 90-degree field of view. You can find stuff like that if you go on Amazon and search, but there's also a lot of ripoffs out there. So to start with, I do suggest something as simple as this 60-degree field of view, and just profile. Now the C270 is about $25 to $30 as a webcam. A lot of people would tell you it's not really good, and I understand where they're coming from because it has two downsides to it. The first downside is that it does not have a 1/4 20 screw or a 3/8 screw to mount it to the tripod. So let me show you what I mean. So if you look at the side profile here, I have it mounted to a tripod that is right here in front of me. The way I was able to accomplish that is by hot gluing a 1/4 20 nut to the bottom of the webcam, letting that cure, and then screwing it onto the mic or the webcam arm that I have here. So let's get back to the face. In this case, the picture looks pretty good. I have good lighting. I have good colors, have decent dynamic range. It's not like the greatest, but it's decent. Now, that's because I have a LUTs on the camera. And LUTs is something that you're able to do in OBS Studio, where you can add like a color filter on it, similar to like how you would on Instagram or something like that. So if I didn't have the LUTs, that's how it would look, which is a more washed out picture, a little more grayed out, not really that vibrant. But once I put the LUTs on it, you can see that it actually brings up my more natural or darker brown skin tones and things like that. So if you know what you're doing with the software to fill in the gaps that the hardware is giving you, you can make a decent looking picture with good lighting out of even the Logitech C270. The third issue with the Logitech C270, but I don't personally find it to be an issue, is the fact that it is fixed focus. So that means that if you are too far back, it doesn't pick you up, and if you are too far forward, it kind of washes you out and overexposes. So you have to be like in one position. But because of the kind of streaming that I do, which is playing card games at the table in front of me, which again, going back to my gameplay scene, this is about where I'm going to be at the entire time anyway. So back to face. Overhead. So if you're a creative type, you're going to want to have an overhead rig so that you can show how you're drawing and things like that. Like I mentioned, clothing rack is only about $15 to $20. Also, like I mentioned, $20 for this. This is an old smartphone. A lot of people have like their previous smartphone, unless you traded it in, that they're no longer using anymore. And I use a option called Joy-Cam OBS. Joy-Cam OBS is a plugin for OBS Studio that allows you to use your smartphone as a visual source at 1080p in OBS. So in the previous video, I showed you like Joy-Cam X, which is the phone app. That allows you to get up to 720p. But if you're doing creative and you want to show things a little bit more in detail, you do that. And to give you an idea of how good that looks, here it is right here. So if you ever wanted to, you could be like have a tablet here drawing, or have paper here drawing, and it picks it up in 1080p and in good color. But of course, that's dependent upon what kind of phone that you're using. It's not going to be the same kind of color representation if you're using, a phone with a very potato camera. All right, so lastly, as I mentioned in the previous ones, you want to have some type of a clampable arm to be able to adjust things, do what you gotta do. Those run between $15 to $20 as well. And miking. So I'm not using the Logitech built-in webcam mic or my Nexago that I showed in the previous video webcam mic, or even the smartphone mic above me. A lot of people get caught up in the trap of believing that they need a flex, a cool USB or XLR microphone to have decent audio. In this case, because of the small window that we're working with the Logitech, I don't see a reason to have, some giant device right here in front of my face, covering up half my face. So I use a lavalier microphone. The one I use is right here. It's by a company named Movo. And Movo is one of the better known microphone companies, along with Boya and various other ones like that. So you want to make sure you pick a company that has a name behind it, and not like, you know, go to Walmart and pick up a lav mic, because they'll charge you the same price and it'll be much less quality. In the case of this lav mic right here, is only about $20, and this microphone is able to connect to smartphones, is able to connect to cameras. It has its own built-in battery. So it has its own little built-in battery pack. It has a clip for that battery pack, and it has so much cord to work with. Like, I could literally get up and walk around and do what I gotta do, even if I am attached to this lavalier microphone. It also allows you to keep any shadows off of your playmat. If you're doing TCG streaming or any kind of creative streaming, you don't really want to have, you know, in your overhead view a bunch of shadows created by, you know, having stuff. It's kind of hard to tell right here because it's pretty bright in the room right now, but sometimes you have like really wonky shadows that you don't want to have. This way everything is out the way, you have full range of your arms, you don't have anything that you could be knocking into that's causing you a problem. So yeah, that's basically the setup. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And before you ask, these are just headphones I have lying around. These are great ones, mind you, but these are just headphones I have lying around. They're by Edifier. But any basically headphones that you want to do to be able to monitor your audio while you're streaming, which is also very important, so you can level yourself to be able to do all that stuff. I'll leave links to creators who I believe explains the software side a little bit better down in the description, and maybe you could subscribe to them as well. But if you like what you're seeing, I do stream every Thursday. Be playing in a weekly circuit tournament. I do post deck profiles every Tuesday, and hopefully you guys will like what you see and subscribe to the channel. And this is VG Time, signing out.